My name is Vilkos Bogar, and with me is Rob Tarantino. We've been working along with a number of others on putting together some materials relating to the various options that people have, the various legal options, I should say. Now, we focused a lot today, almost exclusively today, on legal steps that you can take. And I want to emphasize again that those legal options are just one category of things that you can do to take action in relation to what happened at the G20. And I think they are happening, and I think need to happen in parallel with other political and systemic and organizational initiatives, other collective efforts. What we'll focus on for the next few minutes is individual claims, and small claims court is certainly the main one, but there's also some claims that may be larger claims may be brought in a different court called Superior Court if the amount of money being sought, or if the remedies, the sort of result that you're seeking from the court is not covered by what the small claims court can do. Pursuing any legal claim can be a difficult process. It takes some effort, even the most basic case, and some emotional commitment, and it may not be for everybody for that reason. If it is something you're considering, hopefully, what we're here to do is give you some information about some of the options that you do have available. Although, as mentioned, we certainly can't give you advice because that would have to depend on everybody's individual circumstance. The class action that we discussed, and it fits in. It's important to know how it fits in with other claims that you have. The class action is certainly a very important, I would say, a landmark initiative that's taking place, and it's great to see that it's happening. As discussed, it applies to many people, but not everybody. Either way, whether you're in the class or not included in the class, you can still do other things such as make a police complaint, and you can also, if the circumstances apply to you, in most cases you can also make a human rights complaint under the situations that Kathy was discussing this morning. So the situations in which you might not be included in the class action include, for example, if you were criminally charged after being arrested at the G20, if you were, for example, forced to flee an area of demonstration but not actually surrounded by police, like, for example, if you escaped the police cordon in the kettling incident or any of the other incidents, or at Queen's Park, if you were sort of scared off by the advancement of the police in that situation, you could say that your right to express yourself freely was violated, and therefore you could say that you have a claim, but you wouldn't be included in the class action. Those who were illegally searched on the street, told to open their bags for no apparent reason or for no proper legal reason, would not have those claims included in the class action. People who were assaulted other than in the course of being arrested, or people who were or suffered property damage, had their property taken away, or their bicycles damaged or something like that, wouldn't be included. And human rights issues wouldn't specifically be included. In any of those cases, if you're not included in the class action, there's another option, which is to pursue a claim individually. You can do that in small claims court, or you can do that in the Superior Court, as I mentioned. Also, for those people who have a variety of claims, including one situation which fits within the class description, as well as another situation in which you'd be excluded, you have, I guess you can do both perhaps, or pick either one, I suppose. For those who are included in the class action, you can still pursue a small claims court action if, for example, you want to have some results within a quicker time than the class action is likely to get those results. Although, no matter what, if you're included in the class action, that does affect what happens down the road. In most cases, the people that will be, I think, interested in the small claims or a superior court claim will be people who are excluded from the class. If what you will be seeking is compensation in an amount that's less than $25,000, your claim would be brought to the small claims court. If you're seeking an amount that's greater than $25,000, or if you're seeking something from the court other than money, for example, you want the court to declare a law or a regulation to be invalid, if you want the court to declare that your charter rights were violated, those kinds of claims are brought to the higher court, the superior court. The superior court, I won't say much about it now because it's a very difficult, complex, it involves difficult and complex procedures. And if you think you might have a claim that fits within the superior court's jurisdiction, then you should be talking to a lawyer. If you have a claim in which you'd be seeking less than $25,000 or less, and probably most claims arising from what happened at the G20 would be in that category, then your step is to go to the small claims court. You don't need a lawyer to go to small claims court. It's a process that you can do yourself if you wish, although it's always a good idea to have legal representation or to at least consult with a lawyer before you engage in any legal process. There's some intricate interrelationships between the different processes you can take. As I mentioned, you can file a lawsuit, you can file a police complaint, and you can make a human rights complaint. If you want to do a lawsuit, it depends on whether you're included in the class or not included in the class. Depending on which situation applies to you, affects which options you have. Either way, you can do a police complaint, and if you fit the criteria for bringing a human rights complaint, you can also bring a human rights complaint, except in most situations where the issues that you're raising in the human rights complaint are also being raised in the small claims court or the superior court claim that you're bringing. So I hope that's clear as to the options. Rob is going to talk a bit about the procedures available in small claims court.
Global broadcast news